Hey y'all, welcome to episode 3 of Toy Retro Reviews here, where today I won't be focusing on an actual toy product per se, but nonetheless something pretty awesome, something that would accentuate any fantasy action figure diorama or even as a standalone display. From the creative minds over at Think Geek, we have this, the Infinite Dungeon Corridor. What do you ask, is the Infinite Dungeon Corridor? Well, look at the box. Well, okay, let's check out the features on the back. Enjoy the classic illusion on your desktop or wall. Works best in a dark environment. Wall mounting hardware not included. I love how this one is bulleted with the other features rather than asterisked at the bottom. Not sure if that's a good thing or not. So basically, it's a doorway sculpt that through the black magic art of using mirrors, we get an infinite corridor effect. Okay, less talking, more opening. Nice and bubble wrapped. Good looking out. Okay, bam. Infinite corridor. Pretty nice sculpt actually. Definitely fits in with many genres of fantasy fiction. Bringing it close here, you can already see the torches just inside the glass and the infinity effect somewhat. Only thing left to do is pop in the batteries and light this bad boy up. I'll be right back. Okay, back. I've changed out the backdrop to black to bring out the lighting effect, and I've popped in a trio of double A's back here. A Phillips screwdriver was needed to open up the battery compartment. You can see here these two fins serve as stands for the infinity corridor, which, let's face it, is nice. But enough stalling, it's go time. Lovely. Check out all those torches, man. It's like I'm almost afraid to see where this leads. Actually, this reminds me of Disney's Haunted Mansion ride, where at one point you peer into an endless hallway with a floating candelabra, which also used mirrors to create that effect. Let's kill some of the lights to add to the spooky factor. Nice. You can see how well they flicker, and they're definitely bright enough to create a very long hallway illusion. Anyway, this sculpt stands about 9.5 inches tall, with the doorway arch itself measuring a little over 5.5 inches. So the corridor is not quite the size for a full-blown 6-inch figure to walk through, but hey, not all corridors are created equal. Many castles had lower level cellars, basements, hideouts, etc. that weren't exactly, wheelchair accessible, as in they didn't splurge on amenities such as, ceiling clearance. Something like this would strike me as more of a seldom used secret passageway. And if there's anything Saturday morning cartoons taught us, it's that secret passageways kick ass. And to really test it out, a few characters have graciously volunteered to pose with the corridor to show you all how shit might go down in your little diorama. First up, we have Castle Grayskullman and the Sorceress. Pretty much the go-to guys for guarding secret passageways, of which Castle Grayskull surely has no short supply of. By the way, Skeletor also loves secret passageways. Now, as you can see, the steps are too small to pose any of these guys on. Though with a little fiddling you can manage to get the Sorceress off, on the steps, as you can see here. Check that out. Castle Grayskullman, Gatekeeper. Now, if you're feeling lucky, you can pose some figures partially on the steps, like they're about to climb up or down them. It'll take some gentle hands to pull off, but it's doable and it looks pretty good. And Orko decided to tag along. Now that looks nice. Let's try the unnamed one. Yeah, I like that. Very foreboding. You've probably noticed that the mirror will obviously reflect whatever you pose in front of it, so If you don't want anything reflecting, you'll just have to pose your figures away from the corridor or turn the corridor at an angle if you're taking photos, or just Photoshop it out. Not really a deal breaker since there's not much they could have done to avoid this, short of selling, 3-meter long corridors. No thank you. Next up, we have the Dark Knight himself, Batman. That looks awesome. Now, let's try shadowing Batman from the Dark Knight collection. I can already hear Danny Elfman's score in my head. Okay, well now I do hear it. He's got no problems on these steps. Moving on. I also have DC Multiverse Batman from Mattel's 4-inch line. I guess at this point it's not so much of a cramped secret passageway anymore. Maybe his Bat-Cycle entry point into the Batcave. I mean, wouldn't you? Alright, who's next? Yeah, no. Anyone else? Okay then, Prince Lotor. Sorry, I don't really have any of the other Voltron figures handy, but all the same, I could see Lotor hanging out in a dark corridor, waiting for Allura. Alright, that's enough posing, I think. Let's see what else we can do with this piece. Alright guys, I'm back here and we are inside Classics Castle Grayskull, where a situation is already unfolding. You can see here He-Man chasing Scareglow into the Infinite Corridor. This is just one of a few places you can position the corridor and get a little extra depth to your playset. I've placed it on the edge of the floor piece that comes with Grayskull, but as long as you prop it right up against the second story ledge, it won't fall over or anything. And it doesn't interfere with the lift either. The glaring issue here is that the corridor is gray, so if you're so inclined, I recommend color matching it to the castle. Let's go ahead and kill the light here to bring out the torches again. Nice to see Scareglow living up to his name. Now, there is another spot I'd like to try here and see if this works, so just sit tight and I'll be right back. I'm going to kill all the lights here. Okay, I've got the corridor in a new spot. Let's see how this looks from the drawbridge. Oh, hey Tila. Oh my. Whoa, that is actually pretty stunning. Oh hell yeah. Oh man. I'm just gonna let these images speak for themselves. Yeah, I definitely approve. Okay, well, now let's go ahead and check out the corridor mounted up on a wall. Be right back. Okay, here we are at a wall. And here's the corridor with NECA's video game Batman. I didn't go through too much trouble to mount it since this won't be a permanent display location, but I just wanted to show how easy it is. With just one nail here to prop it on, it hangs straight, just fine. Now, your figure posing will be limited if your figure of choice can't handle those steps. The only other solution would be to tape its feet to the steps, or if you're extra crafty, you can modify the steps with foam or clay to make them extend out more. Now, let's go ahead and give Shakoti some screen time here. Of course, if you were to do that, you might have a problem color matching it with the rest of the sculpt, so a repaint of the whole thing might be in order. So, what do I give the Infinite Dungeon Corridor? Overall, it gets a score of 7.9. The concept is pretty brilliant, the presentation is great, as there are numerous scenarios you can use it in for photographing or displays, but the execution falls a little short. It's more of a gimmicky office desk piece or a man cave wall display. I don't think they realized all the possible uses for this, but if they did, they didn't exactly knock it out of the park. All the same, it's a pretty awesome piece to have for many reasons. So, that's it for this episode. Hope you've enjoyed this look at the Infinite Dungeon Corridor. Another review will be up before too long. Thanks for watching. Take care.